5 and 5. We're fucking live. But yeah, dude, the studio looks good. And Auzzo, the biggest thing is I never really like people staying with me anyways.
Yeah.
So why not put a studio in your spare bedroom? Now, this basically gives me an excuse and an out saying I don't have a room anymore. I took the bed out. This room, this nice spare bed, guest bed, whatever you want to call it, that was getting no use other than Uncle Rico coming down here once a year and putting his drunk ass on it like for about a week straight. That was basically all it was getting used for. So right now, I feel pretty good, man. It's a great space. It's big in, like you've seen, especially over the years, just doing different podcasting studios and seeing other people set up. You don't need a ton of room. And this room actually has way more space than I thought. So yeah, dude, it's pretty fucking mint actually.
It looks good. Did you do anything for the acoustics in there?
Not yet. We're trying to figure that out. We have the TV, which is huge, so then the chat can be buzzing while we're live.
That's huge.
You should see the lighting set up in here. It's unbelievable. I only have 2 of the lights turned on, but we got these big studio lights. We have 4 of them for 2 a guy. And then we're going to get some like base board lights that kind of light up from the ground. So it'll be lit up behind us, which again will help your tan, especially come mid-October, December, when no one else is getting sun and we're getting sun down here. So yeah, dude, it's good. We got the strip club vibe. We have the shag and wagon like carpet, Peter North special, Johnny Sins, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's sweet. We got the velour curtains. We're gonna get some more. But shout out to Clint. Clint Borby. He put this thing all together for me. He came over last Friday. My old partner at Odyssey Construction.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's a good man.
I was wondering where you found that stuff, because I was thinking when I saw the picture of the setup, I was like, where do you buy that stuff?
Yeah, you're probably thinking there's no way Jordo could do that. Like,
I was thinking like Peter and Jordo, I don't know if they found this stuff in a store. Like, I want to know where they got it.
Right, exactly. And so I won't get him in trouble, but he is my partner, and he told his fiance this, Kathy, that I told him kind of the vision we had. I told Clint, I was thinking strip club kind of lounge vibe, like the strip club kind of pimp vibe. And then he called me back, or actually I texted him and then he called me right away. He's like, what are you doing right now? This was like 2 Mondays ago. I just got back into town. I'm like, I got to do a pod and I'm working. And then we have an appearance and we got some stuff we're doing right now. I don't have time. What's up? He's like, can you be ready in 20 minutes? I'm like, 20 minutes? It's like 2:00 on a Monday. I'm like, no, like he lives on the west side of town. I'm on the east side in Scottsdale. He's out in Buckeye, Glendale kind of area. So for me to get to him or vice versa, it's like 45 minutes. But he's like, what are you doing? I'll pick you up. I'm like, again, I got to work right now. He's like, bummer. I'm going to the strip club, because I kind of gave him the vision. So he, as a good partner, went in, got boots on the ground, said he went to 3 different strip clubs in Glendale just to get the vision. And then that night, after he was loaded, sent me 10 to 15 different options, from drapes to curtains to rugs to the whole vibe. And we picked it out basically on Amazon and then just had it delivered to my place. And he came over the following Friday and had it set up. How sick is that?
That's unbelievable.
That's a good partner.
That's exactly kind of what I expected to hear.
Yes.
Because I knew you guys weren't just finding that shit. Like I saw the table in the middle, the tablecloth cover, the drapes, and I'm like, these guys, where the hell did they get this from? So that makes total sense.
Yeah, and when you see the whole setup, like right now for people watching on YouTube, you can't you get a little bit of the picture, but when you put it on the nice Sony camera and you have the lights hitting you, and then the beam lights coming up, it's legit. And these chairs we got are straight out of the strip club too. They're velour. They're like a velour, I would say, almost velvet mix, maybe a hybrid.
Yep.
And it just fits it fits the narrative of what Home by 3 is all about. So yeah, dude, I'm fired up. This is my first actual pod with the new setup. So it feels good. Yeah, it feels good though. What's up in Mini, fella?
Oh, not much, just grinding through kind of the end of summer here. It's been really shitty in Minnesota. Humid, raining. Mosquitoes are just
the worst
killers right now. I mean, it's honestly, it's like, I mean, I don't want to say it, Jordan, but I'm like sitting here thinking like, I kind of want the cold to come. Get these fucking mosquitoes out of here. These thunderstorms. It's always wet outside. It's like, get this out of here. Like, fall's going to be unbelievable. I'm just looking forward to fall. And I'm in the moving game, Jordan. So everyone's trying to get into their house right now before school starts on September. And it's busy. So I'm just battling through right now, just waiting for September to come.
What do you think historically your busiest month always is? Like, obviously COVID threw a wrench into that and different things, but what do you think the busiest month is in the moving game?
It's always June and August.
Yep.
Every single year. July kind of takes a little bit of hit right in the middle of the summer. I think just you either move in June or you move in August if you're moving in the summer. And for whatever reason, I think it's completely to do with the 4th of July. People just want to be at the lake on the 4th of July and in July. Maybe there's weddings going on. But you do learn trends. I mean, we've been doing it for 6 years, so it's like it's fun to see the trends, like it's funny, like the rest of the year up until Christmas is actually fairly busy. But then when you get to January through March, I mean, you're picking your ass half the day. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun to see the trends. I mean, it's just like human trends. Everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It's hilarious. Like we had to turn down this next week. We turned down, I think, like 200 customers.
Wow.
And we'd kill to have them, in October or November. But it's like everyone wants to move at the same exact time.
Yeah, that makes sense too with school as well. If you think about it, kids getting out of school late May, early June, then you get your move in, and then you're like, fuck, I want to go on July 4 bender. And then it makes sense in August too. You said, before school and getting in and kind of getting settled. And Auzzo, I wanted to ask you, just as an entrepreneur, like, I'm behind you in terms of when I got out of hockey and transitioning into running a business. What year do you think you kind of saw yourself where you were able to almost put your head above water a little bit and take maybe just a little bit of an exhale? Because right now, as you know, in the early stages, this is year 2 or year 3 for me, I guess. Yeah, I'm still in the trenches, and not that you aren't, but you're further along and the company's doing well. Where were you finally able to just be like, fuck, all right, I can take a deep breath? Because as you know, like the dog days, they're real, bro. They're real as an entrepreneur. And sometimes shit doesn't work. Like, it doesn't.
Shit. And you don't know, like, you can talk to as many people as you want, right? Like, I'm sure you talk to people who give you advice on what to do, what not to do, what works for them. And you quickly realize, like, the advice is nice, but at the same time, no one's really in your exact spot.
Nope.
No one has the exact landscape you have, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just the exact foundation that you have, what you're doing. So you're always just trying to, I mean, we're still figuring shit out, but I'd say, Jordo, after, it's funny because, we got to we had our one location in Minneapolis. We were feeling really good. Like, things were running good. We had a good company. And then all of a sudden we're like, this is kind of easy. We got to do something else.
Right.
So then that's when I moved up to Grand Forks and opened that one. Came back. Grand Forks is doing decent. Our Minneapolis location started doing well again. Kind of running, you start to find key guys to help you out. What I've learned, Jordo, is like, you want everything done how you want it. And if you want it done the way you want it done, you got to do it yourself. But at the same time, you can only get so far doing things yourself until you gotta trust other guys. You gotta build a team. And as soon as we started adding pieces, important roles and pieces to our team, that's when it got easier. And then, we opened Burnsville, and then the head's under the water again for about a year, where the Burnsville's kind of still figuring things out, but they're running pretty smooth. So we actually plan to open another one next year in kind of like the northeast side of the cities. So again, our head's going to go underwater again. it's kind of psychotic, Jordan. It really is. It's like, what are you doing? You know, I'm putting gray hairs on my head intentionally. But you know as well as I do, if you're just staying in your comfort zone, what's the fun in that?
100%. And there's nothing wrong with being a silver fox either, too, with a little gray on the head, little touch of gray.
Yeah.
But that's interesting you say that. It's just funny, Auzzo, because in the early days, especially over here, building a podcast, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, media, just basis. It's funny because you're the ad guy, you're the content guy. Sometimes you're the camera guy, you're the editor. You're wearing all these different hats and you're learning all these different roles. But at the same time, like you still got to be funny on camera. You still got to schedule your shows, right? You got to schedule different things. You got to find sponsors. So, there's no, like you said, there's no real path to success. I mean, you can listen to all the podcasts you want. You can listen to how Dave Portnoy took him 10 years to build Barstool. You can ask yourself, like building a successful moving company, but no one really understands what your vision and what your intuition is really telling you. So I like what you said about advice. I think advice is good. I think a lot of people are willing to give advice. Now, you do what you want with that advice, right? I think you take a little bit from a lot of people you trust, but you don't have to take it as gospel.
No, you definitely don't. And you honestly can't, because, even when I get asked advice, it sounds pretty when you talk about it, but nothing about it's pretty. Like it's tough, and it's a lot of trial and error. And we've hired and fired a bunch of guys that we thought were going to help us get to the next level. And those are painful, but it's all part of the process. Like you right now, you're doing all of it. You got to be thinking about, like, okay, like if I had someone that was doing some of this stuff, what could I be doing in the meantime? Well, I could probably be meeting with people, coming up with better content, doing this stuff. So you're probably thinking about that stuff, right? Like, could I sub this out to someone? Because this is kind of bitch work, and I'm doing it, like,
for sure,
and saving money, but like, could I grow it if someone else is doing this? And,
when I'm cold calling Labatt for the 50th different time, and I'm trying to track down Tony in Buffalo, and Tony responds every 10 messages, to my one, right? And it's just like, I could be writing, I could be thinking of future things for different pods, I could be trying to line up guests, but sometimes that's what the day calls for. And ultimately you have to put money into marketing and trying to find partnerships or brands. And that's sometimes what a Tuesday calls for, instead of thinking of funny topics or writing bits 100%. For a show in a month. Like, that's just what it is, man. So it's funny, the grind of starting a business. That's what makes America beautiful, though, baby. You can do what you want, and you can go out there and make shit happen. And if it flops, well, you can pivot to do something else, or you can keep your chin tucked and keep going at it until it works.
Well, and that's the thing, people are always scared. Well, they always say the biggest thing that keeps people back from doing what they want to do is fear of failure. And everyone says it, but you just can't really care. You can't. Like, when we started out, I've said this in the past, but like when we started our moving company out, and when I tell people, they laugh at me, like I don't want to throw Jacob Bernard Docker under the bus here, but I saw him at Lifetime the other day. Unbelievable dude, Sioux alumni, great hockey player, first rounder. To a guy like him, I saw him at Lifetime, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you still just doing that like kind of moving gig and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, still doing it." And I walked away. I was like, "He has no idea."
He has no idea.
I'm actually, he probably thinks it's hilarious, but
he probably, in his eyes, and it's no disrespect or discredit to who he is. He's just a hockey player, and that's the lane you're in. But he probably thinks you're working for two men in a truck,
100%,
making $20 an hour. You still doing that moving thing? You still got one truck? That's cute.
Yeah, and it is funny. Like, you laugh at it. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I honestly didn't even care at the start when I started it out, and it was just me and Clint and a truck, and we were actually just movers buzzing around. We didn't have a company. We were telling people we did. They're laughing at us at the bar, and we're like, I don't care. You got an account job. You're an account manager for Amazon. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Congrats, brother. You work at Morgan Stanley. You make 150, but that's great. That's just not something I'm going to do is go suck a hose for the rest of my life and retire at 55 and know I'm going to get paid. Some people that Auzzo, there's nothing wrong with that and that security, but it's just for guys like us. I don't know, man. The risk and the uncertainty. I think that's something that actually drives me more to be successful than the actual end result and what it could be. It's just something about. I think it's something about even just being an athlete and having to put your chin on the line and body on the line, and now it's a different thing where you're literally putting your life on the line. That's the fire that kind of keeps me going.
Yeah, 100% it does. I mean, yeah, it's just, you get bored. You just, it's fun. Like sometimes I want to pull my hair out. Sometimes I think the wheels are coming off, and then I always run with the motto, this, it always works out. It just does. And when I keep telling myself that, for whatever reason, things just happen to work out, and I've been living my life like that for a little while now. And so far things have been working out.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they won't, but I ain't going to live like that.
No, you can weather the storm when it comes, baby. That's so funny. You say that when people would question you have a moving company. I still see people today and they're like, so you're still retired from hockey? Like, what do you do? Like you just talk and like you're an influencer. I'm like, yeah, something like that, buddy. Before I felt like almost not insecure, but the need to explain exactly everything I do and every move I make.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just throw it out there and I don't even care, man. They say, what do you do? I'm like, I don't even know. Just go watch it though. Home by 3 on YouTube. Just go watch it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Sorry, you're like an influencer? Yeah, man. I just post pictures of my wrench all day. I'm on OnlyFans. Go check me out.
Oh yeah. That's why like some guys we've hired guys in the past to do like sales roles or whatever. And they want a certain title on their business card to say like sales dash marketing officer executive or something. And it's like, yeah, I'll put fucking chief executive officer on your business card if you want.
Right.
If I need you to do something here, I need you to do it. Like that's what it is. I don't care what your fucking title is,
Your salary is still going to be entry level, but we'll put whatever you want on there, brother.
Yeah, like we'll put chief executive officer on there, man. I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, we'll put part owner if you want that on there too. Just you're not getting any equity, but we'll put that on there for you.
That's funny though. Yeah, I can imagine you go through the same thing. So what are you up to? Like, what do you do? It's like, I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, like what makes what you do so cool, bro? Like,
yeah, like what do you? Oh, I'm a financial planner. It's like, okay, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do all day?
I don't know. I go to happy hours.
Yeah, last night we went out for wings and played 9 holes after work. Well, what time did work end? Well, 2:30. It's Wednesday. Oh, that's good. Yeah, me too, brother. Yeah, it's just so funny. I think until you get but it's not even for me, Auzzo. It's not even external respect. It would be like internal respect for the proof of your work is actually valued, right? Like the art of your work. And this is what we kind of talked about this week on the podcast. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, is because our guest coming on is Harvey Martin. And for the folks that don't know who Harvey Martin is, he's a breath coach, trainer by trade, but I really think he's like a philosopher, man. He's like a modern day, I don't even know, a poet, a writer, a Greek philosopher. He has a little bit of Einstein in him. I don't know exactly what title you'd put on this guy. And that's why I kind of wanted to bring this to your attention, where it doesn't really matter what your title is. It's like, what is your value and what do you bring and what do you see as art and how do you become successful off that? So we dove pretty hard into the weeds. I think the cool thing about Harvey coming on this week is the depth to him. Like, you think you're in the basement and he's below that. You know what I mean? He's at the foundation. Or you think you're below the dirt. Well, he's 6 feet under. Like the depth to this guy, he's like an onion. He's got a ton of layers and he's very knowledgeable. And I just think people will find him very interesting listening to him. he's always got a different perspective, Auzzo, and I think that that's a big thing in life is to surround yourself with a goodie bag full of people where you can go to and pick and hand choose something in that bag if you need something from a different person. He's one of those guys I can always go to
100%.
when I need it or it calls for something in his
Yeah.
alley.
I've thought it, like, he is a guy I would definitely would pop into my mind if I needed to get something off my chest or something, Jordan. He mentioned, I don't want to give away everything he talked about, but he mentioned, he's always just trying to figure out who he is basically at the end of the day. And, I think we all deal with that a little bit. Like, I think when you start out, especially when you are a hockey player, it's cool to say you're a hockey player, and like you get in this mindset where like you want to do things that are cool to tell other people, or like so you feel cool to other people, or you're viewed as this cool person, when honestly at the end of the day, I think your best chance at being viewed as a cool person is just making yourself happy, and whatever that takes. Like at the end of the day, if you can sleep well at night, that's what's going to make you successful, if whatever you're okay with, I guess, because, like some nights I'll be laying in bed and I'm like, fuck, I had a shitty day. Like I was lazy. I didn't do much. Like, fuck, I don't feel good about myself, man.
Yep.
And then, I'm not going to have a good day. The next day when I wake up, I'm not going to feel good. So I don't know. I think it is really just about figuring out exactly what's going to make you happy about yourself and who you are.
Yeah, and then you wake up the next day and you don't feel as bad as you did, and then say you had a great day the following day, the opposite, and you wake up and you think you're going to feel amazing. Well, you don't feel as good as you thought you were gonna, because it's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think. And you said something really good there, Ozzy, with external satisfaction. Like people say you're a hockey player, externally you're trying to put out this front to satisfy other people who would think you're cool because you're a hockey player, whether you're trying to hold on to a dream or pursue it, or maybe it's not even something you truly love, or maybe it is something you truly love. And that's when it's really cool. Like there's guys out there that genuinely love hockey. They like hockey and they play hockey. They be playing in the East Coast League or overseas, but they're in the NHL. For you guys like me or you, we could have held on to that, but it's at some point you got to let go of the rope and kind of try to find yourself and what your actual calling is, right? So the cool thing with what you said and how I relate it to actually Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld, smart guy, aside from the fact that he dated a 17-year-old when he was 39 and almost went to prom. He has a really cool quote, and it's from back in the day. He just wanted to find a job that he thought was cool and to do it to his best ability. So whatever job you have or whatever job you think is cool, you're pursuing, or you're thinking about leaving your current state or your current occupation because you want to pursue what's cool. It's like finding what you think is cool and then putting that out to the world as art. And that's when I think you truly glow, or, have this free state of flow, I think is how it feels, right?
For sure. 100%. It's like, I guess, when I look at my career, Jordo, like, especially in you too, it's like we were better hockey players than a lot of guys that are still playing that are our age, but at the end of the day, I didn't think being that level of hockey player, that just wasn't what I wanted to do.
Right.
And there's nothing against the guys that are still playing. Like a guy like Diamond Hands.
Yes.
I mean,
Legend.
that guy is
Legend.
the coolest. He's the coolest guy ever. Like it's insane. When I was talking to him, I was like, this guy is so cool. And your boy Schultz, how many people would think his job and career path is not cool? Well, guess who doesn't give a fuck? Schultz.
Yep. Right.
Like
And
he thinks it's cool, and it makes it cool. It is cool. I thought it was fucking cool as hell.
And that's why he's the bartender of the year in Dane County. And that's why Diamond Hands is a cool minor league hockey fighter, because it's cool being Diamond Hands. It's cool being Schultz. It's cool for Auzzo to pivot from playing hockey in the East Coast League and the easy come, hard to leave to be an NHL level entrepreneur. That's cool in your eyes, right? So it's like
Yeah.
whatever you find is cool and whatever you can max out to your best abilities, I think that's where the art is in life. It's not
For
holding
sure.
on to something and kind of listening to yourself of what you actually want to be and not what other people think of you and having that influence what you do, right? Because you see guys
Mhm.
all the time, whether it's in sport or it's in life, you get stuck in this bullshit job and you feel trapped. And that's when you get suffocated, brother. That's when you got no air. That's when you're coming home
Mhm.
every night and getting stoned and getting waffled on the couch. And it's just, you wake up and you're just miserable. And you're like, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So,
Yeah, just stuck in the rut, man. It's tough. Like, yeah, I mean, and I think what Harvey does preach and what he practices is it can help. If you actually go and do it, it can help a lot of people get out of that rut because just sit back and think how often throughout your life you don't have 200 things racing through your mind.
yeah.
It ain't often. So like if you're stuck in that rut, you got all this shit going through your mind. When are you ever going to calm down and like stop thinking about stuff and just get back to neutral?
Yeah. You can't.
You can't.
You can't downshift.
No, it's like impossible. And I think what Harvey talks about and what he practices and what he does, I think is definitely a way that you can get there, at least for short periods of time. And you know, that's when you figure shit out.
Yeah, and I always find, and especially like I said, I'm earlier in the stages in the process of being an entrepreneur and running a business. You're further along, Azo, in terms of years and different things. But I always think like, what's the alternative, right? So you leave the game of hockey, or you leave your job, or you stay in that same lane. Like, what's your alternative? It's either quit or go work some bullshit job you have no passion for. So either way, it's gonna suck a little bit when you're building, especially from the ground to the chin. But it's like you got to choose your hard or choose your suck. Like,
Mhm.
nothing's ever easy, man.
No.
It really isn't. It's always hard. Always, people are always talking about all the time. Oh yeah, like what's it like to start this business? Oh, it's really hard. What's it like to play pro hockey? Oh, it's fucking really hard. It's a grind. Everything's a fucking grind. It's
Everything's hard.
right, but it's like where do you find your magic and where do you find, again, I keep going back to the word flow, but it's that you really know when you're doing shit, like where you're at and how it, like, trusting your own gut and your chin. I think that's a big thing, man, like with
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, 100%. Just, you know, constantly believe in yourself, trusting what your thoughts are telling you. Um, yeah, I mean, like, I think listening to podcasts, business podcasts for me and reading books certainly helps. Now, do you retain all that information? It's like reading a book. You do it once, you read it, you're like, oh, this sounds great. I'm going to do this for a week. And then after a week, you're just right back to normal. Um, so you don't retain everything, but like one quote that kind of helps me get through the day is when you're in business, like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, has a quote. He's like, business it's a roller coaster. It's up and down. Like there's a problem every day. There's something good happens every day. It's like, I'm just like this. I don't
Yep.
care. Something good happens, I'm like this. Something bad happens, I don't care. Just keep
Yeah.
pushing forward. And that once you realize that kind of other people are going through that, whatever your profession is, whatever your career is, you're gonna run into problems, you're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs. You just gotta stay consistent, man. It's discipline.
Yeah.
Staying consistent.
It's just the story of the Chinese farmer. Just, this happens to you. Is it good or bad?
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, it might be good. It might be bad. I mean, you just don't really know. That's why, and that's where, we're two guys, we don't know anything. So let's be clear there. We're not over here saying we're therapists or anything like that, but we're merely just talking it out. And I think the thing we do have, Azo, is we have a lot of elderly people in our lives, in both of our lives, whether it's your dad or my dad or grandparents, or say a guy like Dave Hackstall, or
Mhm.
just successful people that are older than you. You can always draw back to advice through wisdom. And I think that's where a lot of this stuff we're talking about instilled in us has been passed along to us through the core people in our lives, even our moms. You know what I mean? Like I truly think it's, and when you're a kid, you always think, oh yeah, listen to your fucking dad, your parents. What are you, a fucking pussy? Like, but now you get to the age where we're at, and you're like, wow, some of the stuff that they were harping on, or even giving them a call now, they're like, what do you want? Like, because most of the time, your parents, you talk to them, but a lot of the times it's for advice or different things. It's like, they're always expecting something. So those conversations you can have with the elder, and especially people that you respect, I think it goes a long ways, man, because they've been through it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I always, when you're younger, you take for granted, having grandparents and parents even. I think once you get older, it's really enlightened me a little bit. When I've gotten older through the years, is just how grateful I am to have, older people in my life to kind of set me straight or give me advice. Cause without it, it certainly makes things a lot harder. And some people haven't had that advice given to them, or that wisdom, or those teachings ever. So I'm really grateful for, having that leap. It's definitely a jump start on people who haven't had that. I have a dad who's been in business. He's helped me start, the amount of questions I've asked him, and even his buddies and everyone, that I'm able to talk with. It certainly does help. And it for the most part, it kind of just makes you feel, it gives you some confidence, which you need in anything in life. And it puts you at ease a little bit. When sometimes you are panicking because you're like, I don't know what to fucking do, man. I'm panicking.
Oh fuck, you're wound up like a quarter in a gumball machine, waiting for that jawbreaker to drop. But yeah, man, it's good shit. And yeah, and people listening, like I said, we don't really know a ton. We're just trying to pass along real daily life shit that we all go through, and I think it really relates to our guest coming on today. So this is episode number 96, brought to you by Mini Movers and Butter Golf. Butter Golf, the official merch line of Live and Five, as well as Mini Movers, the official moving company of Live and Five. Harvey Martin on the program today, Auzzo. But before we get to Harvey, we got a couple things. And I want to start it just off the top after our little life advice section of the pod. Auzzo, pro hockey contract update. Last Friday, had an offer from somewhere in Finland. I'm not going to name it. It's not Helsinki, not my old team. But it was a professional tryout for the month of August, which in hopes would include a contract, a standard player contract for the rest of the year. So I am self-repped. I am working with an agent, not Drew Shore, not the super agent, but I am working with a guy, a European agent. And I basically told him, okay, go back to that team and ask him if I can be mic'd up for games and practices on a PTO. Also, I want a camera team through these preseason games. They don't have to be in the locker room, but again, I would like to be mic'd up and documenting everything so everyone can see the return of pro hockey if it's going to happen. So they got back to me on Saturday and said, absolutely not. So looks like Swish is not going to Finland. Not that I was dying to go there, Auzzo, but that was the update out of Finland. There actually is another team interested in Finland as well. It hasn't amounted to an offer yet, but that was a legit offer. PTO for the month of August. Regular season starts mid-September. Actually a good team in Finland too, but they shut down the People's Insider 93.1's request of being mic'd up for practice games and in the locker room. So back to the drawing board. Still got a bunch of East Coast teams calling me. I'm looking for maybe an AHL sniff because I want to do it, but I also don't want to get injured. Like I don't want to go to the coast and just have some dude who has no idea who I am, and he's basically heard I got signed because, again, quote unquote, I'm a YouTuber, and the next thing you know, I break my neck and I severed some disc, and I need a Jack Eichel like surgery on my upper lumbar spine. Like that's just not what I need mid-season when I'm grinding out Tuesday comedy clubs in Columbus, Ohio with a neck brace on. Like we can't forget that this mug is the breadwinner right now, and the voice is the breadwinner. It's not my hands on the power play as much as I want it to be.
100%. That would be so electric if you found a spot to do that. I mean, I do respect the Finnish team for shutting you down. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to be business-like, so be it. You guys go win that league or whatever, but fuck, that would have been unbelievable content. And honestly, Jordo, I don't know about you, your workout videos had to have had a little bit to do with some of this.
For sure.
And I mean, you're looking pretty good shape-wise.
Oh, I feel great. Yeah. I'm ready.
You gotta be stronger than you gotta be as strong as you've ever been.
Oh, no doubt. And I just think even when I get on the ice, I feel good. I'm skating a little bit. I'm shooting pucks. I'm working out. I've been working out 6 days a week since I stopped playing. So my shape and my cardio is good. It's just like, first of all, that team in Finland, if they're listening, I really appreciate the offer. Like, I haven't played a professional hockey game in 2.5 years. Like, I haven't even gone to a camp. So for them to reach out and be like, we want to sniff at the peoples, I like that and I appreciate that. Auzzo, my question to you is, if I'm going to do this, is it better to do it stateside and sign with a team, say in the coast or the A, or do I still get the same traction if I go overseas? Because going overseas I think it would be cooler in a content situation where you mean like you're overseas, you have a little bit more time, you're not playing as many games. You could create more off-ice content. You could raise awareness or brand recognition for even the team. I think you could do way more interesting stuff as like a Euro trip, but does it get more eyes being on U.S. soil, being on the home turf, same time zones? People can correlate it to it more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I've been going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think it'd probably be better views because in North America, just because most of your followers are from here, probably. And there's a chance, if you're on the team, people could go out to a game and watch it.
That's true.
Versus in Europe, they're like, because you got to think, like, if you signed with a coast team, there's going to be a ton of people looking at the schedule like, oh, he's coming here. Like, we could drive there and watch this fucking game,
Yeah.
So you get that part. The Euro trip would be unbelievable content. It'd just be so much more work because you gotta schedule when you're releasing it with a different time zone. You got to release shit, at the prime times here over in North America, and kind of do that part. But yeah, I mean, both would be great. I just think getting some live action from some of these people like that are following you would be
right
all time. I mean, there'd be people traveling to games, like, oh, fucking the Swamp Rabbits in South Carolina, we gotta go, boys. Like,
we're turning 93-1 fans into basically like the following of the Grateful Dead, where they just watch them on. They follow them on tour for a year. They're following me to every coast city in the world. We're going from Fort Wayne to Toledo to Cincinnati, Ohio, and to the chin of Wheeling and off to Worcester. That would be hilarious, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to close out the European options yet and sign with a team over here, because I don't know. You never know. Like, if it was a sick team over there, it'd be pretty cool too. Like,
oh, it'd be nasty. I mean,
and then that way, and I mean, everything's on the internet as is. So you're not going to get people coming to your games, but you're going to get people tuning in because it's like, holy fuck, Swish he's playing in Stockholm now. Like, what's going on? Like, we got to watch this on YouTube. Like, and I think it would, well, you would lose your fans with boots on the ground. I think you would gain them with views on the internet. I don't know. I think it's a win-win either way. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the lines open. I just wanted to give the people a pro.
For sure would be. I mean, you got to think, like, yeah, playing in the top Finnish league or whatever would be unbelievable. But then, what are the odds one of them lets you film this shit?
I know, because they treat it like
they're treating it like a national over there. They're like, buddy, like, this is the PGA Tour. Like, you ain't fucking filming at one of our tournaments.
Right.
Like Grand Horvat, you ain't filming this. This is the fucking PGA Tour.
Right. And then I got to have the equipment guy be in on it. Now he's mic'd up, and I sit next to him every time I get off the ice with the camera guy across the ice. Yeah, That gets a little dicey.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be so funny if you signed with the coast team and you were just playing nasty and the American League team calls you up. You're just on the PP in the American League film crew. Like, yeah,
rolling it in.
You can't come play, and film crew's got to come with you.
Right. Put up like 22 points in 14 games on the coast and then go to the American League. And you're demanding your camera team being in the locker room at the BMO Bank, Harrison, Rockford on a Sunday, and there's NHL GMs at the game. They're thinking, "What the fuck is going on?" When they see 32.
Hey, that's where sports are going, though. It's like every sport's going to be the WWE eventually. You know, like why not,
dude? So speaking of this, I was talking to former Denver Pioneer Zach LaRaza. I saw him actually on the weekend. We were watching the UFC fights, and he was, yeah. So he was telling me about the new rules coaching in USA Hockey because he coaches AAA hockey, squirts or peewees or bantams or something like that. So they had to make a rule in USA Hockey where they banned and outlawed players from being mic'd up because these kids at age 12, 13, and 14 were treating it like their own YouTube channel. So they'd be mic'd up trying to catch the coach on a hot mic saying something so they could report them to HR and then put it on their YouTube page and blow it up and basically sewer the guy. So how crazy is that, dude? There was players playing for like the junior Coyotes that had their own YouTube pages and they're 12 years old. They're in 7th grade and they're posting this shit online basically because they think they're YouTube stars. Now everyone has a mic on them. So if Sonny, if OJ can get away with murder, why can't Sonny have his kid? Why can't I fucking be I'm actually a legit YouTuber. I played in the NHL. These kids are just dipshits. That's crazy to me, though.
That is nuts. Imagine. Do you think these kids actually like hockey, or are they just trying to be YouTubers? Like, I can't imagine when I was actually trying to play. It's like the last thing I want to do is be fucking mic'd up, not like thinking about something else.
Well, how do you think about that? Like, that's where we're at. Like, when you're 12 years old. I didn't want to be anything other than
also
hockey.
Who the hell is watching that?
All their buddies at school. They'll do anything.
It's like their buddies. Like, right. But aren't you playing on the team with your buddies?
They'll do anything for 200 views. It's absurd. Like it's full on Looney Tune.
So the legend doesn't even know when he's being filmed and fucking.
Oh, LaRaza, yeah, LaRaza.
LaRaza. This is LaRaza. Sorry.
No, that's what he was saying. He was like,
he doesn't even know when he's being filmed. He just.
No. I mean, think about if you're a coach and what if you're talking about to another coach something you shouldn't be? Say it's taking your side piece to Twin Peaks every Tuesday after practice and that gets caught. I'm not condoning that's good behavior, but I'm just saying, what if you say something hypothetically you shouldn't as a kid with a mic is skating by and all of a sudden you get sewered for something? Like, that's ridiculous. And it doesn't have to involve cheating on your wife. I'm just saying it could be anything.
Could be anything. Just saying like
little Tommy's a pussy.
Well, what if one of these old timers is just like, I gotta go coach hockey again? I miss it. I just want to coach a youth team. Like some of these old timers, some of their one-liners they're dropping.
Yeah,
you don't want that shit on audio.
No, I mean you can't get away with anything. So I just thought that was hilarious. Like USA Hockey literally has a rule implemented.
Insane.
Yeah. You see the USA Hockey orientation list?
Yeah, couple
couple
shockers there, eh?
No Best, no DeBrincat, Nikki Schmaltz. Obviously, I'm non-biased. I think he should be on there. So my thing, Auzzo, is I don't think like DeBrincat makes the team. I actually don't think Brock Besser makes the team. I love Bess, and I don't think probably Nikki Schmaltz makes the team. Just how the team is built. I think they're all quality, really good players that you could argue that they should be there on the team, but they should be at this orientation, man. They're 10-year veterans. They're guys that put up point a game. Besser scored 40 goals. DeBrincat scored 40. Nikki's been a point a game for the last 5 years. I just think you honor and you respect and you give a tip of the cap to the veterans that have done it for that many years, where you invite these guys to give them a little bit of just a little kick in the butt. Hey boys, congrats, little tip of the cap. You're here. We know you're good. You're being recognized by USA Hockey for being really good players for a long time, versus bringing in a guy like Frank fucking Nazar, who had one good world championship. He played half the year in Rockford last year.
Yeah, what was that?
He had 26 points in the National League. Look, the kid's going to be a great player. I think he's going to be really good. I really do. But he's not there yet. He's played 56 games in the NHL. I just don't think where's the respect gone for the player, for the older players? Not that they're going to necessarily make the team. I just think it goes a long ways when you recognize some of these guys and be like, hey, yeah, boys, you're in the mix.
Oh yeah,
we know you're still good.
Which those guys you mentioned are certainly in the mix. Like, you can't tell me all those forwards are better than Bess and Nicky. I can understand, like, who does Bess have to beat out? The Kachuk brothers, Gensel, Mats,
Tage Thompson.
Okay, he's not beating them out. Sorry, Bess.
Yep,
I can understand that, but like, you're right. Like Frank Nazar, nothing against the kid. I was just like, how the hell did he land on this list? Does he have who's his agent? Because he's not even a player you think of. You don't even know his name, really. I mean, I know his name because he played at the University of Michigan. I watched him in college, but like, your average hockey fan's never probably seen this kid play.
Yeah, I just think, okay, he's going to be a great player. He really is. I think he is, and I think if he stays on this trajectory, he's a kid we could see for the next Olympics. I'm simply just saying, the veterans, they're probably not going to make the team, but they're really good players, and they've put themselves in a position to at least be recognized as some of the best in the country. They should be there over a guy that is a hopeful for the next Olympics that is nowhere near making it this year. So why wouldn't you just give the respect and recognition to the guys that have done it for 600 odd fucking games versus a dude that played 56 last year? I think that's just a bad look. I think that's cheap.
Yeah, 100%. And if they did invite Frank Nazar and some of these other guys to the camp strictly off of they could be on the team in 2026, so let's give them a look here. Get them familiar with this camp, USA Hockey. Well, then why isn't Lane Hudson on the list? I mean, I know Lane Hudson isn't going to crack that D lineup. Like, trust me, I don't think anyone's cracking that D lineup right now. He's going to have to take out Quinn Hughes, which ain't going to happen. And then you can't slot him in at the second pair or the third pair. He's not a second or third pair guy. He's a first pair guy. So what do you do with him? He's not making the team this year, but if we're inviting guys to get some experience for the 2030 Olympics, why is Lane Hudson not on the list? We got a guy like Brady Shea on the list. Now, great player.
Yep.
He ain't making the team, and he's certainly not making it in 2030.
And if you're going to invite the young guys, you got Jackson Lacombe there. Isn't Lane Hudson he's a better hockey player than Jackson Lacombe?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. And I was reading some stuff on him, Jackson Lacombe, unbelievable skater, big frame. Maybe they're thinking about that. I don't know.
Right.
Obviously, you like size on the back end. You already got Quinn Hughes back there. Yep. That's enough. I don't know. But Lane Hudson's, he's one of the best defensemen in the league.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting how they went about it. And like I said, both the young or the old options, those two groups of players, there's two ways to do it, and both probably aren't going to make the team unless there's significant injury. I just thought there's a way to give those veterans just, their recognition, their flowers.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I had on that front. Auzzo, last little thing before we get to Harvey Martin on the program today. We have the People's Insider Term of the Week. And this week's People's Insider Term of the Week is nuggets. Now, nuggets is a term that can be used for a lot of different things. Nuggets is not just something you smoke or put in a bong and pack it in there and take a hoot of, it actually is a reference to balls. Again, not balls between your legs, fellas, but balls in terms of tennis balls, golf balls, beer pong balls. When you get on the 8-foot table and you line up chin on chin with a willing combatant and you're about to throw in terms of some beer pong balls and get a scheduled game on the wood, well, you say, hey, fella, do you got some nuggets? Meaning ping pong balls. Where are the nuggets at, fella? Where do you keep them? You keep them in the top pantry in the cabinet? Where are the nuggets at? Hey, okay, here are the Franklins. Or you're on the golf course and maybe I'm playing with Auzzo and I don't have any balls left in my bag. And I say, Auzzo, fuck, I need some nuggets, fella. He's like, oh, I got you there, Swish. I got the Pro V1s, or well, what do you like? Oh, yeah. Hey, you like those hard ones. Yeah, I got some Strixons in there. Oh, fuck, here's some top flights. Here's some really hard nuggets. So that is another way you use nuggets. And he's got one right there. And finally, in tennis, who's bringing the nuggets to the court here, boys? Who's got them? So it's a different way to say balls. It's a different way to say golf balls, tennis balls, beer pong balls, whatever kind of ball you're playing with. The term is nuggets. It just sounds good. It rolls off the tongue.
Sounds great,
doesn't it?
It does. It's great. Whenever you got any extra nuggets, it's just like,
fella, get some nuggets, eh?
Yeah. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, you're just like, fella, fuck, you got some nuggets? Oh yeah, fella, I got right here. What do you need? You got like 6 different options.
Toss me that nugget, bro.
You splash one in the pond and you're far away from the cart. You yell at your partner, fella, grab you another nugget, eh? Oh yeah, I got you. Here you go. Yeah, three off one here. 3 off 1. So that is this week's People's Insider term of the week. Auzzo, write that one down, folks. It's a classy term. It's timeless. Nuggets. So Auzzo, always tape to tape with you, Cap. Let's get over to Harvey Martin on this week's program. Episode number 96. That was the pre-show. Always D to D, no look. Little hinge over to Auzzo. Folks, enjoy your weekend. Again, we'll be back next week. That was Live in 5. Woo! Harvey Martin on the program today, folks. Live in 5. Me and this guy, we go way back, like LeBron's hairline. Hey, I just saw you are a Mankato State Hall of Famer. Congrats on that, by the way, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that was sick. Only 5 walks that year, eh? On the mound, you were dicing them up.
Hey, so I got to look back and see if this is real, but I also think 2 of those 5 were intentional.
No way.
Yeah, because I know I had 2 intentional walks that year. So okay. I might have only walked 3 people.
Did you have a no-hitter that year? How many complete games? Like what? Because you were only at Mankato for 1 year. I mean, how did you earn the Hall of Fame? 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. So I went there the winter of 2012, and I went there and was right into season. So I played there my first year, which was my 5th year at school, and I was All-American that year, and we lost. I think we got 3rd in the country. We were in the College World Series that year. And then I came back my senior year, and that was when I killed it. I was National Pitcher of the Year that year, and that was the year we lost in the national championship. I don't know. I didn't throw a no-hitter. I threw multiple complete games. I'm not sure, but I threw a handful of CGs for sure.
What? So where were you before that? Were you at Central Michigan? Were you with the Chippewas, right?
I was a Chip, dude. Shout out Chips. I got 3 active big leaguers right now. One, Zach McKinstry just made it into the All-Star game. And my boy Dietrich Enns is killing it with the Orioles.
So you start in Central Michigan. That is, what is that? Is that the Maction? Is that Mac? That's Maction. Oh my God! Holy Toledo, holy Miami of Ohio, all those teams. So you go there. Yeah. Why did you end up going to? I think you've told me a long time ago. But why did you end up going to Mankato? Just opportunity.
Well, Dietrich Enns was he's one of my boys, one of my very good friends now. But he was actually, no shade on him, but he was part of the reason why I transferred, because I went to Central Michigan and I was super highly touted as a prospect in high school. And I thought I was going to play pro ball for a minute out of high school. And CMU they were loaded. And we had a bunch of dudes there. So if you got a scholarship and you were in Michigan and you could go to Central Michigan, you kind of went. Like that was like the Taj Mahal of the universities at the time, right? Yep. Over Michigan State and even Michigan. So I went there really not putting much thought into it. It was just like, this is the best school in Michigan. It's a Division I school. I can get picked out of pro ball here. Like I can go kill it. And I did do really well at CMU. And then I had elbow surgery, Tommy John. I'm trying to think, and then I came back, and Dietrich Enns came in and was a freshman All-American, and it was our closer, and I was our closer previously. And this is where it's cool because he is my boy, and he's a great dude. He made it to the big leagues. He's 35 years old pitching the big leagues. Like, kudos to him. But you guys know the sports world. Like, for me, I kind of lost my spot, and it was like I believed in myself. I had to go find innings and pitch. And back then, you couldn't go – there wasn't the NIL stuff, right? So it was like you couldn't just Wild West it. Like, couldn't go Division I to Division I unless you wanted to sit out an entire year. I don't know if it was in hockey, but in baseball, you couldn't do that. So I had to go to a Division II, and Mankato was in the World Series the year before, and there were a couple guys getting, like, signed out of there. And – it's funny you asked because I did not want to go there at first because it was a D2 school. It's in like a small town. You guys have been to Mankato. And I'd never been to Minnesota. It was super cold. And I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, why do I have to go here? And it ended up being incredible as a team aspect. But then I had a really successful career individually and signed with Milwaukee in 2013.
What were you
That's
touching?
unreal.
What were you touching on the gun in those days? What was the two seam coming in at? Was it 94 and a hook?
Yeah, man, I would get up there. The thing that's crazy too about then compared to now is they didn't even radar gun us when we were in college. They didn't have that tech, which wasn't that long ago, right? Like 13. But I never knew how hard I threw at Mankato because we didn't have radar guns. When I was in pro ball, I would sit like 92, 94, and I'd hit 95, which is also crazy. Because now that as a righty, that's like slow.
Yeah.
I was our 2013 or 14 at pro ball in the Milwaukee Brewers organization. I was our hardest thrower on my minor league team. I was like our hard guy, like our guy who came in and threw hard at the end of the game. So 94 miles an hour. And like I felt like I threw harder than everybody because people didn't throw that hard. And now if you throw 94 as a righty, like you're not even anywhere.
Why are they so much faster now? Like what have they been doing differently? Is it just strictly like diet and training?
Dude, I don't know. I asked this college hockey player, as a matter of fact, yesterday. I was like, do you think that hockey players are better today than they were 10 years ago and 20 years ago? And I was asking because it's like, do you think baseball players are better today? It's still got to be a subjective answer, right? Like, I don't know if people are better than they were, but it's like they definitely throw harder statistically. So if we're going off that metric and considering that to be better, like I was talking to Bukestad and he was talking about the speed of the game. So if you talk about objectively of that, like I guess those metrics would be better per se. But I think the difference now compared to when I played is like they're just like people start so early and train to do the thing competitively at such a young age. Like you are trying to throw hard and you're doing specific programs with the intent to throw hard at like literally when you're like 10 and 12 years old. And that wasn't really, I don't remember that being like a thing. You kind of just like threw hard or you didn't when you were 12. And that was kind of is what it is. Like you didn't bear down over the winter and like train your nuts off to try to throw fuel as a 14 at a showcase.
I think like the comparable for hockey to baseball in that sense, whether you're talking about how hard a guy throws now versus say you 10 years ago, Harv, I think it's similar to the modern day hockey player now where their skills are so much further developed and further along where everybody can stick handle in a phone booth. Everybody can skate really fast. Where I think it gets a little bit lost in translation just because of the coaching and how early these kids are developing these skills is it's way more one-on-one based in hockey. I think kids, their computer or their brain doesn't work nearly at the function of the elite players, say 10 years ago. Yes, they're way faster. Yes, their hands are better, but can they operate in traffic? Can they do different things with their mind at the same level as, say, when we were coming up through the pro ranks? I think that's where I would question a little bit. And to relate that to baseball, I think it would be something similar where you say guys, 94 miles an hour, 92 miles an hour now might be a slider. Like I've seen it at games I've been to where before, maybe it was Greg Maddux going on the mound and just being an absolute strike zone finder, being able to paint the corners, dip dive in just different ways to kind of work his way through a count and an inning and just being on the mound more so like a chemist versus just throwing the hard ball as hard as you can and locating that way. So I think that's kind of maybe the comparison would be with hockey and baseball, is where the skill or the heat is higher. Maybe the brain function isn't as high as maybe it once was, because you can get away with different things when you play hockey at a higher level, say with speed and different things, but the brain maybe is not there. So I don't know.
Starting pitchers are only pitching 5-6 innings nowadays. They used to pitch full games like sometimes. I mean, they keep them out there forever.
Yeah, man, that stuff's not even like comparable, right? Well, that's the other thing. Like the injury rate are incredibly high. Like, so it's like pick your poison, right? Like, and you look at the league now in baseball, it's really interesting because so many guys, like when I was playing in pro ball, and then I scouted with Milwaukee for a few years, so I was in player development with them, and you would always hear the statistics and the fluctuations of numbers and whatnot. And I don't remember the number exactly, but it was like 20-some thousand total people in the history of the game have played Major League Baseball. I'm sure they have that for hockey, right? Like they would always say that metaphor, like half a Major League stadium would be filled up of total big leaguers in 100+ years, right? So it was always like that whole, like how small of a chance it is that you'll make it. And then it was like 2,000 people have played 10+ years, right? And so they would always kind of like throw those numbers at you when you played to make you feel a certain way, right? And when I was coaching in the big leagues the last couple of years, man, I could be slightly off. I don't think I will be, but it was like 2022 or 2023. The Giants funneled through 60. I know it was in the 60s. I want to say like 64, 65 total players played on the big league roster that season. And it's like the game, because of so many things, like it's so statistical now and so analytical that like they just like plug and play numbers. Like it's like you'll see a guy who's in the minors and he has like a statistic to do well in this one game. So guys just get like called up and sent down like that now. And so now that whole, like, I'm curious, like in 10 years, how many people have played professional baseball now? Because now it's like more people are playing, but to your point, it's like less people are playing, like less people are sustaining careers, like less people are doing the Greg Maddux bit and playing 8, 9, 10 substantial like years. And so to your part, Swish, it's like, well, that would make sense on the mind, because the mind it's kind of a microcosm of society. It's like flash in the pan performances. It's like there's no reason to be somebody who can sustain performance, because there's no reason to master anything. It's like just get somebody in there who throws 99 miles an hour. He's probably going to break in the next year or so he's going to get hurt, so it doesn't really matter. The way the system's set up in baseball is it takes you 6 years to even get to free agency and actually get paid. So it's like you're under team control for so long. It's like, why not just like funnel people through, and get them in, get them out. And so it's pick your poison. It's like you can go to a game every night and watch people throw 99 miles an hour regularly, for sure. That's cool, right? But then at the same time, it's like, what is being a big leaguer at this point? Like, what is mastery? What is Greg Maddux? Like, are we going to see that stuff in the future? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do they got going on with the minor league system too, Harvey? Because I was looking at the Twins, like baseball does something pretty cool, Jordan, where they rank all prospects like 1 through 50 or whatever. Doesn't even, like, some of these guys are playing in the majors right now. They're still a ranked prospect.
Yeah.
Well, the Twins have a guy, I think he's ranked like 3rd or 4th on the list or something, but he's playing AA. Why would this guy not be playing AAA? Like, he's playing in the coast basically of baseball, but he's like the 3rd best prospect in baseball. So he's guaranteed to be a big leaguer, but he's down in the coast essentially, Joro. I just don't understand it.
How old is he?
I want to say he's like 19.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a lot to do it. And a lot of times I haven't been in the minor leagues in a while, or like done any of the development stuff in that ideology. But I mean, I know historically AA is even sometimes projected as like better than AAA as far as like talent, because it is all the prospects. And AAA is more guys like I have a bunch of buddies right now who are in AAA who have like 5+ years of big league time, and they're just like playing ball and getting a 6-digit contract, and they're not going to go play double A. So like you have so many AAA rosters that are just like filled with ex-big leaguers or guys who are going to go up and down, and they're cool with that. So a lot of times they'll keep a guy in double A so that like he for sure gets a full season of at bats or like throws a full thing in the innings, and the talent level is comparable to big league talent. So that like a lot, I don't know if they do as much, but a lot when I was playing, they used to pull people up from double A a lot into the big leagues. And that they would call people up from that.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think it's more of like a business thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that my cousin's buddy Drake Baldwin, who's now the backup catcher for Atlanta, he's played like 70-odd games this year. He's hitting 285.
Yeah.
Last year, Auzzo, he split between double A and triple A. Like he was kind of back and forth wherever they needed him and wherever they felt like Harvey said maybe it was at bats or getting reps behind the plate. Harv, I wanted to ask you though, like. It seems like baseball, I mean, all of sports are now so analytically driven, whether it's NBA where essentially the 2-point basket or the mid-range is out of play because statistically speaking, if you score for the 3, even though you might be shooting only 40% from the 3 ball, you still are going to average more points than just going for quick 2s. Now, kind of parlaying that into baseball, like I'm just thinking – as a catcher and a pitcher, like the art of calling your own ball is like that's got to be frustrating, man, where you're getting it in from an earpiece and you're basically told what to throw, where to throw it. It's like I want to be able to throw the high stinky cheese when I feel right. Like I don't want someone in a press box, like an offensive zone or an offensive coordinator in football, tell me what play it is. I feel like the art of baseball. It's so just stats and analytically driven now where it's, I don't know, like pretty soon there's not going to be humans up there throwing. It feels like
it's like
just
a simulation.
It's just like I don't know. Have you talked to guys in the league, pitchers, anyone like that, catchers? Do they miss that part of the game, or is that just something where the evolution of it and where we're at right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll protect this guy's name so I don't give away any of his trade secrets because he's still in the league, but he's a very veteran, like a 15-year type dude. I don't know if he's played 15 years, but heavily in the 10 to 15 range in that area. And he said something that really lined up with me a year ago or so when he was pitching, because one of his off-speed pitches is ranked as like, it's rated analytically as one of the most successful pitches in the big leagues, right? So how that'll work is they'll go to your scouting report and they'll take your statistics, analytics of the movement of your pitch, and they'll base it up off all the hitters, and they'll say like throw this pitch whatever 49% of the time, and that's how we'll get our win tonight, right? So you're trying to buy your wins through analytics, which is kind of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And he said something to me that really stuck with me, because he was frustrated after a scouting report because the week before they had said the same thing to him, and he got lit up all over the yard, and he was throwing all the statistics and all the numbers that the scouting report was saying to throw. And we'll call it a curveball in this instance, because if I say his pitch, people might know who he is. So we'll call it a curveball in this scenario. But he was like, what am I supposed to do if I'm on the mound in the first inning in front of 45,000 people and my curveball isn't working? And statistically, I'm supposed to throw this pitch that the art of me does not feel it right now. I have to throw this pitch 49% of the time. And to your point, I think why that story really resonates with me is because he has been in the league before analytics. He's been in the league for a long time, and he's had a lot of success, that he had the awareness to kind of push back against analytics. And he had the maturity to say like, no, because in real time in front of 45,000 people, I'm aware enough to realize that I don't have my curveball.
Yeah.
And that's where I would say we've lost athletically, not just in baseball, I would say in sports right now, is we've lost the maturity to know who you are in real time. And that's, again, like why I think it just shows itself in the fluctuating, I guess, the amount of people that are coming in and out of the sport.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you're just like kind of trying to play a game off of numbers, and people who aren't artists, like, it's just a hard thing to do. It's kind of the old, you started this thing talking about stoicism. That's like the old, who was that? Socrates, know thyself, right? Like there's really no incentive to know yourself anymore, because everything will tell you who you are. And that's not just the actual analytics of baseball. You see that in performance, you see that in strength conditioning, you see that in health and dietitians. Like everything is like telling you who you are. We have machines that tell you how you slept. And like people can't even have it. We have a hard time having a conversation about how you feel like you slept based off of what a technology is telling you how you slept. Like that's the same concept.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you got the whoop strap telling you that you didn't recover properly,
Right.
and at this time you still got to get up and go to work, or you got to go play a game, but you're being held back, and you're already mentally fucked when you wake up at 6:32 in the morning because you didn't get the best sleep. Well, yeah, no shit, that's gonna happen. That's life. Like you just got to get up and go do it, right?
My buddy was telling me a while back he was really into his aura and his aura ring. And then he says to me one time, he was like, man, Harv, like, I don't know what it is about this aura ring, but every time I get shit-faced, I don't sleep good on it. And I go, that's been a tale as old as time, brother. Like,
yeah, right. You mean going to bed with a BAC of 0.15 at 3 a.m. and you get up at 9, you're not going to feel great? Yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science here, fella.
Like, to tell you, man.
You got shit-faced.
Yeah.
You were drinking whiskey all night.
Yeah, I don't think you need the aura to
No. The ball's not going to lie either way. So I think you can wake up.
Sometimes you sleep well and it tells you slept like shit, and then it fucks with you. It's like, did I sleep like shit? I like feel rested. What the hell's going on? And then it gets in your head. That's when I took off my Apple Watch. It started telling me I was sleeping like shit, and I was like, I actually felt like I slept pretty good. So fuck this thing.
Yeah, it's a weird time, right? I was training in a facility a couple weeks ago, and a guy was measuring oxygen. So you guys know I like breathing a lot, right? And I'm into what oxygen does to our body, and like in a really simple way. It's like, okay, just imagine the whole body is filled with oxygen, and if a part of the body for that brief moment or a couple days in a row doesn't have oxygen in it, the muscle tissue tightens up, you have a swelling, right? Like it's just like if you get hit by a puck and you swell and you have swelling, and like there's not oxygen in the area. So if you do any recovery stuff, it's to just try to get blood flow and oxygen, right? That's like super simple athletic recovery 101. So this guy was all teched up, and it was really cool tech. It was really fascinating to me. And it was all measuring the oxygen in his entire body based off of these movements. So he did an entire workout, and they would set him up. And then when he was doing the exercise, when he would move a certain way, if the movement would be compensated, in this example, just being fatigued, it would show on the tech. It'd be like the oxygen's not coming into the body, right? Which is like, it's like going for a walk and be able to breathe slowly, and all of a sudden running sprints in your mouth breathing, and you just like fatigue out, right? Like you feel this all the time. Like we didn't grow up with tech telling us that. Like you just like felt your body fatigue itself. And so this technology was telling this person when he was fatiguing. Is this making sense? Like it was kind of like telling you what you're capable of. And which is cool. Like technology is cool for those scenarios. But there was a brief moment where the trainer leaves, and it's just me and the athlete. And I look at the athlete, who's a cool dude. I don't even know his name. I was just there to observe, really. But I had like my moment to talk to him. And so I say to the guy, I'm like, hey, like we've been with you for 45 minutes telling you what your fatigue level is and what your movements are based off this tech. We've only been looking at this computer watching you the whole time. And I go, every time we've cued you or told you that you're under oxygenated in this moment, have you felt any of it? Like, has it ever registered? Like, did you know that before we told you, or did you just agree once we told you? That was like my framing. And he was like, he was perfect answer, but he was like, yeah, no, I have no idea. He's like, in fact, I haven't really even thought about it. I've just kind of been waiting for you guys to tell me when I don't have oxygen. And then I just like accept what you're telling me. You know, and it was the perfect answer, because it was like the exact opposite of why we would merge technology. Like the whole intention is to try to elevate ourselves from having awareness and information. And so that's like a really cool thing for all of us to think about, and myself to think about, because I talk about this often. Like information does not move the needle in behavioral change. It just doesn't. And if you have a hard time accepting that, well, this is the most obese, unhealthy population of people human society has ever experienced, and we're the most educated we've ever been. So it's like, you have all the information that tells you exactly how to live, and yet we're so far away from knowing how to live. It's like the greatest paradox in the history of man.
People just
it's hilarious to think about.
Yeah. Just a charcuterie board of processed foods and Dairy Queen ice cream cakes. That'll get you by on a Tuesday. But Harv, I want to back it up just a little bit and talk about, where I first met you, 2017, 18, somewhere in there, where we started training. We did a lot of breath work. We did a lot of things with sauna and ice, putting different stimulation on the body, different stresses, in involving breath work and in even meditation and different things with cardio exercises. We would lift a little bit. I would come see you probably once a week, where we would train on Wednesdays. I would usually do my strength training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'd come see you, and then Friday, Saturday back to the strength training, and then sometimes Saturdays we would do some things. But it was back in the day. It was me, you, Mikey Riley. I think you'd started off with James Van Riemsdyk as your first client, and you're transitioning getting out of baseball into this space that you're now in. That's led you to working with MLB teams, being a full-time coach. But back in those days, it wasn't trial and error per se, but it was just you were doing a lot of things that were ahead of your time. It was a lot of things that were maybe now or looked at as modernized or the norm, but back then it was a lot of different things, and it all started with breath work. And I came to you and I was like, man, I feel like I'm in really good shape, but sometimes on the ice I'm getting gassed out and different things where I get into this space where I'm really just kind of breathing in my upper chest, where I think I could calm my system down and play a lot longer and be more stress-free on the ice. And that's what we got to. But I just want you to tell the people just kind of how you started in coaching, how you came up with different schemes and things that you were teaching to us. Because like I said before, it was kind of before your time, or not even before your time, but before a lot of people's time, in terms of just the things you're doing that were kind of revolutionized the game, for me at least.
Yeah, no doubt, man. First of all, I appreciate that. And those will always be some of the best memories I have from coaching and teaching, because I've said this to you specifically, like I got myself, and shout out to Mikey. I just saw him at coffee yesterday. So one of the greatest of all time. And, I was also really fortunate where I could throw that back at you, because I was in a unique pocket with a bunch of like curious dudes like yourself that kind of like pushed each other. I mean, that's how it seemed to me, right? It was like I kind of got really fortunate that you guys were, I do think it's fair to say, guinea pig, and Forbes still kind of gives me grief about the guinea pigness that I used to throw him through too. But I'm saying that because I think that that's important. Like the one thing that I was lucky enough early in my career was I was around people like yourself who were curious seekers, and I was kind of a curious seeker person to begin with. So the merging of that made for like a very special environment to train in, because I don't think that, and we can get philosophical on what I think coaching and teaching really is. I don't think that like you can really teach anybody anything. And that's where, again, I reiterate the importance of that group, is that the hockey group, you guys specifically, it was like, I never felt like there was like a hierarchy to it. Like it felt very like it was kind of like communal, and everybody was just trying to like evolve their performance. And it was holistic. It was mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and breathing. If we get into the nuts and bolts of why that just rang off the charts to me when I first started teaching, it's because breathing makes then and still now the most sense to me as a human, because it's the only thing in the body that's unconsciously happening. So everyone listening to this is breathing, and us three are breathing like while we're listening and talking. And so this unconscious thing that's happening with heart rate, blood flow, digestion, muscle tissue, all that stuff, you can actually make conscious. So the simple fact and truth that I know that I can take unconscious movements in my body and make conscious and become aware of that, that means that I have actual influence over my nervous system, my physiology, meaning that I can control my state. I can truly heal myself. And I think I feel comfortable talking to you guys about this on this foundation or this platform. But it's like, and I talked to Bukes about this the other day. The thing that I had going for me then is that I was broke. And when you're broke and you don't have access to red light machines, and you don't have access to really nice hyperbaric chambers, And I didn't have the ability to go buy Normatex, and I wasn't going to go rent space at a gym. I was broke. So if you're broke and you're into health and physiology and the nervous systems, guess what you have to do? You have to ground your feet, because that's free. You can walk barefoot on beaches and grass, and you can swim in lakes for free. And breath work is free. And you can go to cold exposure in your shower regularly. And so I used what I had access to. And what I had access to, where I think that merged it even more successful in my career, is I didn't go through any curriculums. I just wrote a post about this the other day. I work with the musician who's an independent artist, and he just taught me a lot about being original. And that was something I really fell into too. I didn't go to school for my profession. I didn't get any internships. I never climbed a hierarchy. So I never had a curriculum that was pushed on me. Does that make sense? I was more so like, what do I have access to? What do I have resources to? And how do I view performance? And then I kind of just like curated that out of curiosity. And that's why I bring you guys into the mix, is then I got really lucky with people that I got to work with. And what I've always looked at it as is, okay, you're a human that's trying to reach maximum potential in your life. And if you look at nature and the way that nature is set up, nature is so black and white. It's so yin and yang. It's so dualism. And that's how I see everything. Everything is in duality. It's polarity, right? So if you look at a person is a hyper nervous system and a hypo nervous system. You can go up, you can go down. And if you're looking at an athlete, they have a game, which is up, and then they have all life, which is down. And that was kind of like, if I frame my ideology out of that concept, everything that we did was based off of that. So it's like sauna makes sense because it's hot. Cold makes sense because it's cold. So there's a contrast. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to do fast breathing, so you learn what it's like to be hypersensitive, hyper-regulated, panicky, stressed out. And then we're going to do slow breathing, so you know how to be completely down-regulated and sit in stillness. Now we got to train that physically. Remember, we used to tape your guys' mouth, throw you on the rowing machine, and just stress your system out as much as you could and try to do it through different variations of the nose or the mouth. And all that stuff, in my opinion, acquires an awareness. And when the athlete becomes aware of the mind body, then they can kind of take shape in real time, being a performance. And so that's how I've always just thought. I know I'm talking very philosophically, not as objective, but that's how I viewed it. And that was the way I came into it. I just came into it a really unique way, and I just kind of did it my way. I just was like going for it.
What? And I wanted to ask you, what was the science, or what was the objective behind, remember the drill we used to do in the sand where we would basically high knee march back and forth across like a volleyball sand court, and we'd stress the system to the point where you weren't breathing, and then the point was, Auzzo, was to stress your system so far that you had to breathe, and when you had to gasp for air, you had to be able to control that, though, Harvey. You can't just come out of that and just start hyperventilating or panicking. What was the point of that drill in terms of, was it just to stress your system out to the point of basically you're in fight or flight, and then you have to be able to recover like through your diaphragm, breathing really low into your stomach? What was...
Yeah, I can take that and roll with it. So, well, first of all, think of it as like a hierarchy. So when you're breathing, everything is mechanical first, right? So it's like you start from a mechanical sensation, which is what we used to always do with you guys. Like, how do we get your diaphragm to first move? You've already like shown when you breathe vertical or you breathe high. So if you can already start to look, it goes mechanics to physiology to psychology. In the breathing world, everyone wants psychology. They want to get high. They want to get into different states. They want to alter consciousness, which is cool. I like that vibe for sure. But you don't really earn that until you work yourself up the chain, right? So you got to build a foundation. And a lot of times when you get athletes, for the way that life works, we're sedentary, we're vertical, we're moved over, we're hunched, we compensate in body movements. So most of the body wants to pull from the upper lungs, the upper ribs, the upper neck into your breath. And that's not a full diaphragmatic breath. So what you're trying to do originally is get people to inhale and expand their diaphragm. Your diaphragm kind of sits like an umbrella underneath your ribs. When you inhale, it flattens. That's why, like, if you and I hold and I do a squat or something like that, you know, you feel like that safety belt they used to teach us, like bring in and fill your belly up like that. So that's all just like mechanics. The drill you're talking about was physiology, because in physiology, the best way I've seen to train athletes to have a greater capacity to handle pressure and stress is you mess with their nervous system and you teach them how to suffocate, essentially. So if I take away your breath, you start to suffocate in training. And if you suffocate, that's a great fear on your brain. So now all of a sudden, if we're not underwater, which we've done some water stuff too, right? But it's like, if you're not underwater, you're safe. If you kind of know what you're doing, you set the system, like you're not going to get injured necessarily. But if you can hold your breath while doing movements, there's a part of the brainstem that it picks up on your fear states. And so if I train myself in breath holding, I actually gain a resilience to fear. Like I become more resilient to stress in my life. And that was why we did certain things like that. That's called carbon dioxide tolerance training. And so what we were trying to do, carbon dioxide is a waste product, right? So I inhale oxygen, I exhale carbon dioxide. When you can get people to not have to over breathe and exhale so much CO2, you do certain drills like that, CO2 training, CO2 tolerance. And when an athlete becomes more tolerant to stress in the body, being carbon dioxide in this example, their mind literally gets stronger. Like their ability to handle stress actually gets higher. And then in your perspective, that's just like a bigger aerobic capacity. Like I don't feel as drained. I'm not as boasted. I feel more recovered, right? But that's why we would do. I mean, I still do all that, but I'm putting my brain back in those days. That's why we did so much breath holding with movement. It's like we're trying to build tolerance to stress buildup in your system so that your brain gets turned on later. So if I'm more resilient to stress, if I feel fear coming on later than you, then I can go longer than you. And this is where you see us in fighting all the time. Like the first person that starts to pant or mouth breathe, that's the exact example I'm talking about. They're perceiving the moment, extreme fear, extreme stress. They're going to lose motor skills, they're going to lose the ability to make decisions. And that's how they get beat, you know? And so you try to pound that part of the brain by doing breath work, and you pair that with stressful movements. And I know it sucks. Like you remember that, like it sucks holding your breath in training, but the byproduct of that is a more resilient nervous system. And if you have that, you see a cascade of positive performance traits.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me was going into that next season is when I would get caught out there in layman's terms for a longer shift. If I was hemmed into my zone for 2-3 minutes, where the season before, like you were talking about as a fighter, the stress in the red lights, like they'd be flashing, like, you know, like let's go, like let's get off the ice. And you get into that panic state where the alarm system was set off, and now maybe you don't get that puck out when it comes to your, or you miss an assignment right around the net for a box out and you get scored on. Whereas the following season, I was able to stay low, control my breathing, realize that I'm going to be okay even when I get off the ice here, because I know how to recover now. I know the prerequisites. I know to get my body to calm down. And I just have a higher echelon of dealing with stress where my eyes don't start to turn in. And, you know, you get that feeling where you get it narrowed in and all of a sudden the door closes and you're in the tunnel vision stage and you're like, holy fuck, get me off this ice. I need a cigarette.
Yep.
Where that season and the seasons after I played, I knew I was good. I would almost like get to the point where I would get so gassed in those situations. I would kind of be smiling. I'd be like, well, fuck, I know how to figure this out now. I have the roadmap to do it. So to your credit, I think that was the biggest thing for me and guys that have worked with you that was the biggest thing. I felt like I could play forever. I really did, because not that I was in necessarily better shape. My stress levels were able to handle a much higher load.
Well, you used a really cool word there with the alarm system. If I could sum up, it's the nerdy side of it's called your pre-bot zinger, which I don't really like to say because it's such a nerdy word, and the part of the brain that controls your inhalations and your exhalations. But that's what you're trying to do. You can literally just mentally visualize having an alarm in the back of your brain, and it just sits on your nervous system into your brain, right? So it's on your spinal cord into the way in which you see the world. And when that alarm goes off, I always say this to players in baseball, because it's like if your alarm goes off in the middle of the season, you will not get back. Like your season's over. Now you're going to have to go on the injured list to some degree. You're going to have to spend some time back, but you never come back from that. So it's like if you mentally get burnt out in the end of July and you have 2 months left, like so be it. Your alarm went off. Like you got to recover it in the off season and try to gain a bigger container. But that's kind of what you're trying to think of it as. It's like, okay, here's an alarm. We all have it. And what's the one access point that I can get to build a bigger container for me to actually have to sound the alarm last? If I can sound the alarm last, then I'm going to be healthier longer than you. So I can be in stress and I don't have to sound my alarm. I can play in it and I can think in it and I can move in it. And that's what you're saying. That's what I think performance is. So it's like at its actual peak, that's how I'm trying to view all the training. And it's like, I don't really care what the methodology is to get it. I just want you to have a bigger container so that you don't have to sound the alarm. You can be in stress and not have to check out. I mean, it's the Navy SEAL 101. That's their whole bit. You know, if you look at the SEAL training, I was fortunate to go there a few years ago. They have all this tech, amazing people, obviously all the stories that you hear about them, super in line, insane leaders. And the guy said to me very simply, he goes, yeah, we make you do all this stuff, but in reality, the thing that gets you to check out is we take away your sleep, which is a physiological alignment, which makes you tired, which means that your alarm is easier to sound when you're tired. And then they just throw you in the ocean because it's cold. And like, it's like all the things are really not that, in his words, it's like all the training is really not that hard. We're just trying to figure out where your alarm is so that we can trust you in battle. And if your alarm is triggerable, then we don't need you as a SEAL because you won't make it. And it's fascinating how like simple that was, the way that he was talking to me about it. But that's exactly what we're talking about right now. It's like how to not sound your alarm. And the only way to do that is to know yourself and build a container of resiliency. And there's tons of ways to do it. And I kind of told you the only ways I came to mind was because I was broke. It was like, here's what my options were. So, but the ideology is the same, I think. I think that's the point. I think that alarm point is across all performance.
Yeah, that's hilarious. You guys bring that up, Jordo, especially I'm thinking about when you're stuck out on the ice in the D zone.
Oh,
When you get tired, I've never even thought about this before now, but when you get tired, you slowly lose, you don't care. Like,
No.
you're like, I don't give a shit if I take a penalty. I don't care if I get scored on. I
would-
just
I'd
need
be-
to get
yeah.
off this fucking ice. I don't give a fuck about anything. Like, coach can yell at me. I'm fucking tired. I need off the ice. Doesn't matter. Like, I never even thought about that. Like, if you have that stress, that alarm better, you'd still care. You know, that's half the reason why you get scored on when you're stuck on the ice in those situations, because you just don't care about playing well anymore. You're just like, just get me off the ice.
Oh, you're thinking the whole time, somebody please score when you're in that state of mind. You're like, I don't give a shit. Someone just fucking take me out of my misery. Otherwise, I'm going to have to cross-check somebody. I'm going to be sitting in the box, and hopefully they give me a double minor because I don't want to be nowhere near this ice or the bench. I remember it was the year before we started working. I was playing a game in Rockford, and me and Vince Dunn were D partners. Billy Huso was our goalie. Both guys still in the NHL playing well. But this was at the time when we were in the minors. We were playing with the Chicago Wolves. And we get hemmed in Rockford, Illinois. I think it was legit a 4-minute shift. I'd have to go check the game notes. But it was at least 3.5 minutes, and it felt like 10. So we're getting absolutely hemmed in. And at this point, me and Dunner are literally just standing on both posts, like just about a foot off the crease. And Huso is yelling in our ear like a goddamn Russian drill sergeant, go, you there. Like he's like, giving us the
He's trying to direct.
the Joseph Stalin Iron Curtain, like just giving us directions, like go here. And I finally look back at him as I'm standing right in front of the crease. I go, shut the fuck up mid-play. And we're just getting hemmed in, blocking shots, pipes, crossbars, one-timers through the slot, and we're doing nothing. And then we finally get scored on, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. If I ever have to do one of those shifts again, number one, I'm going to have a jammer, a heart attack. And number two, I'm retiring on the spot. I got back to the bench, and our coach was yelling at us, and I was so checked out. I couldn't give less of a fuck. I was like,
oh yeah.
I wish they scored 2 goals.
You're just happy to be alive.
Yeah, exactly. Someone get the defibrillator. I'm going to the bar. So, yeah, man, but then again, the next season it happened not to that extent, but again, I was able to deal with the stress. So, I guess what I'm saying, Harvey, is the stuff works, and the stuff you teach, obviously back then it was truly innovative. So, how can someone that is just a regular 9-to-5 Joe Schmo, not a Joe Schmo, but just a run-of-the-mill type of dude, not a high performer, maybe someone that deals with anxiety or a switch, right? You all know those guys that come home and their wife says something, and then or a kid, and the switch goes, and it's just fucking they're seeing red. Like, fella, just relax. So how do we build that up in practice different things so maybe we are accustomed to dealing with everyday stressors a little better?
No doubt. Well, I mean, the thing about sport that I think why humans are so engaged with sport is the story you just told. Like, that sport, in the way I see it, is like it's art and spontaneity. So you're watching real humans who aren't trained to be actors, but they're actors in entertainment because they're being humans in sport, if that makes sense. So it's like the story you just shared is like emotions, chaos, and like fans eat that up. That's why we watch sport. Like, there's a guy for the Giants the other day who broke his bat over his knee, right? And the reporters were like badgering him, like, you're never going to let your emotions get you again, right? Like, and they're like talking to him in the post game. It's like, do you know how much people love that people break bats over their knees in sports? Like, that's why we are engaged with entertainment, because we're watching real human emotion in real time, and it's just magnified times a billion because it's in sports. And so because of that, we accept it, right? But if you break your bat metaphorically over your knee when you come home from work, like, you're an asshole, and you have a problem. You need to go get some help, and so but I think that's like needs to be discussed in order to really grasp the magnitude of the question. Because the transcending of sport as an individual is that you have exposure to those lessons in real time through your sport. So you learn about things like us three are obviously aggressively wanting to increase our capacity to sound the alarm, right? And we learned a lot of that because of sport. And I got into my whole profession because I sounded my alarm too often at the end of my career, and I watched it bury my career. And so it's the same thing. It's like, we want to get real and sentimental on a family aspect. If you sound your alarm all the time as a husband or a dad, like, dude, you're a shitty husband and a shitty dad. Like, you can't do that. It's the whole old-fashioned airplane analogy. If the stewardess sounds the alarm on the flight, we're freaking out. But if we're going through turbulence and this person's kicking it, like, all right, we're all right. And so there is like a tremendous importance to being able to contain yourself and understand who you are. And to answer your question directly, asking me specifically, it starts and finishes with your breathing, because like I said earlier, your breathing is unconscious. And when you start finding yourself being reactive or anxious, or all the examples you guys are sharing through story, that means that somewhere along the lines, unconsciously, your breathing got away from you. So really the long shift is just because you're breathing a ridiculous amount more than you are on this podcast. So all of a sudden I'm reactive. The alarms are going off. I'm freaking out. I'm swearing at my teammate, my coach. I can't even hear him, and that's no different than the analogy you gave for normal society. And so I think that it's becoming aware of the fact that you are governed by pretty much everything out of your control except for your breath. And so if that means that I can feel reactivity, if I can become aware to anxiety, if I can become aware to stress and fatigue and all that stuff, and I can check into my breath and make it conscious like I just did, and I can learn the language of what that feels like, then you go to what I said. Go to your mechanics. Breathe low, breathe slow. You don't need a protocol for that. Breathe low, breathe slow. If you find yourself yelling at your wife, I guarantee you're breathing into your neck, and I guarantee you're panting and breathing out of your mouth. That's what you're doing. You're fine. Yeah. Like you're doing all that. So it's like if I were to reverse that physiologically, not in my mind, if I reverse that through my body, things start to change. And also, obviously, we got to do a beautiful breath practice a few weeks ago. Swish and I have been able to do hundreds of them with tons of people. Have you guys ever been to an experience with other people when you coordinate breath together? The whole room doesn't just get high on a beautiful level together. It's incredible.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because the nervous systems all align and the nervous systems come down, right? And so what I would just say to people is have your own perspective you want, but realize how much control you have over your brain by the way in which you breathe, and you don't have to think how I think in life, but I really think life is nothing but a performance. And every day I'm going out and performing, and I'm just trying to be as me as I possibly can. And the most me that I can possibly be requires me to be calm. It requires me to be relaxed. It requires me to be responsive. And so when you find yourself stressed out the family, just breathe slow, breathe low, breathe in through the nose, exhale longer, lower your heart rate, bring your awareness to your breath, trust your eyes. Swish, you talked about narrow vision. That's why nature's so beautiful. You go and walk around a lake, you go outdoors, you go see an ocean. I know the desert sucks in the summer, but when you see those mountains, baby, that thing is beautiful. That all changes physiology, and that will change the way in which you think. And that's why I use those tiers. If you can kind of get out of the mind and into the body, you change your mind. And that's why being healthy is important. That's why breathing healthy is important. And that's why I know, again, I'm a philosophical dude, so it's hard for me to not be overarching with a lot of my comments. But I hope that makes sense to the original question, just like having an awareness to those simple concepts.
Low and slow, baby. We always teach it. Like a good centerman coming through the zone. As a D-man, I need you low and slow. I need you just don't be burning out of here too quick. So, no, that was beautifully said. And just lastly, on my front, Harv, I wanted to ask you, now you've been incorporating these sound bowls, these different things into your breath practices. What does a sound bowl do? I've experienced it. It felt like it helped reset maybe my circadian rhythm or just even nervous system. I don't know the science behind it. I'm just a dipshit over here.
You don't even need to know it though, Jordo. It's just
when Harvey hands me this, Native American quilt or blanket, and I sit down and I got a nice pillow and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I feel high even though I'm not high. Like we get the sound bowls going and the sound bath. What is that doing for me? Because I come out of there and like I said, I feel stoned, but I'm just kind of high on my own supply.
Yeah, the bowls are next level, man. The way I use the bowls in layman's terms is like we're all northern folks and Midwest guys. It's like, when we're on the lake and you can hear people talk so well across water. Yeah, you can kind of hear that versus land. Well, when we talk, right, we're making vibration. We're creating frequency. We're creating sound, right? And so sound over water has such a beautiful ripple effect to it that they merge just tremendously well. It's an insane modality for sound and water to merge together. So if you think about it, your body is primarily water. So if I can send specific signaling of sound and frequencies and vibrations through your senses, the best way I explain it in a non-scientific term is just think about your body's water starting to move. And when the body starts to move and the blood starts to move, now all of a sudden you start to heal yourself, similar to breathing. If I just start to pace my breathing in and out and I breathe slow and deep, so many things happen. Heart rate comes down, digestion recovers, nervous system neutralizes itself. And so you naturally start to heal. That's not Harvey's opinion. That's fact, right? So it's like if you can spend time and breathe slow and cadence your breathing, you heal yourself. That seems pretty advantageous for life, in my opinion. Now let's go to frequencies. Well, your body is consumed with these chakra systems, or like wheels and disc around your body from your root all the way to the top of the head. And it's just energy funnels. So like if you have gut issues, well, you're going to think differently, right? It's like, why do you think a certain way when you eat bad food or you're hungover? Are you buzzing in your brain? Like, no, because one of your solar plexus is all wound up. It's all tightened up. You got no energy going through your gut. Right. And so like you're going to lose the ability to think better. And so sound can play through musical notes, different parts of the body. You can use certain frequencies to get those discs along your spine to just move the way they need to. It's just like a modality of a Normatec or a stim machine or these sort of things. But I like the ancient Eastern practices because they work from the inside out. Most of the Western practices are the outside in, right? It's like a Theragun. I'm not hating on a Theragun, but it's not as penetrable because it's coming from the outside. It's trying to work on the inside. If I work on the diaphragm and I've changed my breathing, I'm on the inside working on the outside. Do you see what I'm saying? If I get needle work, I'm going inside to my body. If I have penetrable frequency that gets into my body through my auditory or through my skin, it moves the inside of my body. That's why I love a hot sauna, not an infrared sauna, because a hot sauna gets into your nervous system. Infrared is outside of the system. Cryotherapy, outside of the system. Super cold exposure, ocean, lakes, inside of the body, And so I like working, and that goes back to the duality, the in and out. I like working in to heal out. And sound is just a beautiful, long, sustainable healing tradition that we've used to heal people and heal people's nervous systems. And it regulates it without you having to try, right? If you don't know anything about breathing or you don't feel like you're mastering that scenario, if you just lay down and someone plays a bowl, certain frequencies, you get there. And that's why I love it for general pop and for society of where we're at now. We're so stimulated by the weed whacker. I can hear the cars out in the back. I can't even get into quiet zones in America because we're in highly stimulated sound areas. So if I can deregulate my senses through frequencies and sounds that heal me, that's what drove me into the sound bowls, to be honest with you guys, just from like a personal standpoint. And the science, it's the same science as the breathing. It's literally just shifting the nervous system from fight or flight to rest and adapt. And if you can get your body to adapt, you get a bigger container, you sound the alarm later, and that's the point of, I feel like this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the coolest thing you said there was healing from the inside out. I'm a big believer in that too. You know what I mean? And just in terms of, and everything is so connected, but I just think who you are, Harv, as a person is just, it's so set in flow. It's so set in just kind of in the moment. I mean, even when Auzzo was telling me you were going to check out the breathing practice the other week where you guys were talking, and I just think this, sharing this story helps people kind of paint the picture of who you are as a dude and how just, free flowing you are. And we can all, strive to be like that. But you were talking to Auzzo. You're like, hey, come to I'm putting together this breathing seminar, and just show up, and you can interview some people at podcasts or whatever. And Auzzo was like, okay, like who should I interview or what should I bring? And you're like, I think you just show up and just kind of feel out the vibe. Like, don't commit either way to doing a podcast or not. Just show up with your equipment and kind of feel out the vibe. And Auzzo was like, okay, but that does make sense. Harvey's right. Like, because who knows if it's actually going to work or not, like, do I have a certain area that I should set up? No, just show up with your stuff and see how it goes. Right.
That was fun, man. Yeah.
But that's who you are, man. Like, you're all about just, you can walk in a room, and I think this is truly your best trait. You can walk in a room and you can relate to everyone, but you pick up their signals that they're giving you, and then you apply what that person needs without even needing to ask them. Would you say that's fair?
I mean, that's very kind. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. I mean,
but I think that's your best attribute, dude. I really do. Yeah. You just walk in and you figure it out like so much quicker, and you're able to process what people need right away.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the thing, if I were to answer that objectively, I mean, I've been in this environment my entire adult life, right? I've worked with people And like I kind of said earlier, I think as I've gotten older, I've been able to reflect on a little bit. You know, I do think if I were to tangibilize the answer, or my thought to what you're saying, is I do feel very fortunate. I used to be so intimidated by the fact that I didn't have degrees, right? Or I didn't really have a traditional path because I was young and I was starting to have some material success, whatever that means. And I was always really intimidated about feeling a certain way, or I wanted people to feel a certain way, or I wanted people outside of myself to accept me, I guess. And then it was ironic because as years went on, I think like I just am so curious about myself. Like I've always, and I've gotten more comfortable saying that now as an older person in my profession. But it's like, dude, I'm just trying to understand me. And the more I understand me, I feel you can see it in everybody. And I've realized that we're all just the same. And so now, like everybody I meet or rooms that I'm in are so intriguing to me because it's like more of me. And so it's like these constant abilities to just like connect with society. And I think that's what was so beautiful about that experience a few weeks ago is like, I did not have any idea how that was going to go. I had an idea of the structure I was going to try to create, but I think there's something so beautiful about art form, and you can't plan art. And that's like, even as I'm trying to say this as my craft, because in my performance world, you guys know this, it's hard to live like that in pro sports because everything is number driven and money driven. And it's hard to like say that confidently. And I've really struggled with that for a long time. And to accept that I don't know people, I'm trying to know who I am, all these things. And the whole point of like, all we're trying to do is our best. And I think like that comes through the form of questions and love and generosity. And I think that's what makes art. And like, you guys are artists, right? And like, I've obviously had a lot more time with Swish, just in real tangible time, but it's like, we've talked a ton about that over the years, man. Like, how do you make art? I mean, art is so fragile because it has to be you. And the boundlessness of who you are, it can't be contained by society or what we think things are. And that's what makes this so scary. And so I think if I'm coming to my own answer, because I'm so scared, I don't think I have any other option but to just like meet people where they're at, you know, because like I myself am like trying to figure this thing out, you know?
Well, I also think I think every person out there that I've met at least, or just come across, like if we, our vision can only see so many waves, in so many rays. But I think, if you're in a fourth dimension or something, or if your vision could work better, you could see someone's vibration or their vibes, And I just think whenever you're talking to you, or whenever I run into you or talk to you, you just have such a good vibe going. Like your vibrations are positive and stuff. It makes it very easy to just talk with you and kind of be yourself. So I think that you get the best of everyone when they talk to you because they're so comfortable because you're putting off such a good vibe. I don't know. I try to learn things from everyone that I come across, and I was like, you know what? He just puts off such a good vibe. Like whenever I'm talking with him, I feel comfortable. I barely know the guy, but I feel like good when I'm talking with him, and that's something I would like to do. Like I want people to come up to me and think, it's really easy to talk to this guy. Like he's putting out a good vibe, and I think that's easier said than done, or hard. Yeah, easier said than done. It's not easy to control your vibes at all times, but I think it is something you can work on and always get, continue if you are kind of a negative person per se.
Yeah, dude. Well, I think that's what I was saying. Like, it's so hard to, like I said, I wrote the last book without words, and it was basically a puzzle because I spent 10 years trying to convince the world to breathe and be this. Like, I wanted everyone to do what I did. And then I got in the big leagues for a few years and I realized like, man, I can't teach anybody anything. And that was like really hard on me mentally at the time because it was like so much of the reason why I was there was because I was so gung ho on changing the world. Right. And I figured if I got Major League Sports to be holistic, then that would top down itself and all of the country would be these barefoot breathing, hydrated youth kids that would change the consciousness of America. That was like what my egotistical thought was, right? And then I got all the way to the show and I was like, man, the system is too big. There's like a lot of money and stuff involved. And I realized the only person I was really actually speaking to was myself. And Joseph Campbell writes a beautiful book called The Hero's Journey that talks a lot about this. And it's basically meaning you are the gold, right? The Alchemist talks about this as well. But like you, like us three individually for your own purpose in life is you already have it. You already are it. You're the thing. But you'll go around the whole world fighting the world only to realize you were on it the whole time. Right. And so it's like such a frustrating experience and paradox that I think what you were just saying, both of what you guys have said is really meaningful to me for sure. I think some of the things that I've ran into in recent years that I guess would sound what I'm hearing is like would come off as my vibes in those scenarios is dude, it's so hard to be myself that it's like tiresome to try to tell someone else how to be them, like I'm just trying to be me. and I think like a lot of peace comes to you when you can just like kind of hone in on that. And that's what I was so exciting about that experience is like, dude, I just like let's just like throw it out and be you. And that's why I was saying to you at the time, like, do what you want, get what you want from this experience, take what you need from it. And in order to do that, you'd have to be you. And I thought that was such a magical night because so many people just agreed to that for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's a way of putting it. That's kind of some recent lessons I've ran into of just like comprehending the fact that like, man, I just got to kind of be me. And that's going to be a really hard thing. And but it'll be worth it. And so, that's the point.
I think even when we've talked, Harv, especially when I was getting out of playing hockey and transitioning into what I'm doing now is we spoke on the art of different things, right? So yours is coaching, yours is breath work, yours is very holistic. Mine would be more so podcasting, media, comedy. And the biggest thing that stuck with me, that still sticks with me is you have to put things out that you think are funny or that is from your perspective. As soon as you conform to the norm of what society wants you to do or how people feel, or you are just tailing someone else because of that is their style, that's when you become the Costco of just being generic, just being just that wholesale accessible thing that comes in bulk, where art is actually abstract or totally different in a sense of you have to put things out to the world that are meaningful, and what's meaningful is coming from your originality. Like that's the coolest thing about art is sharing what's inside you to have other people think it's cool, right? Like that's like the whole thing of what I think is art. And my art would be comedy or something like that, or performing, right? So
well, I think like I mean, think about how much you've done since you got done playing in terms of different rooms and challenges that you've pursued. And the hard part about art is that you find yourself in it. And that's kind of the point of the hero's journey is like, you already are the art, but you do have to cut through all that stuff. And so you don't get it unless you get bloodied up. I think that's why we find so much compassion for each other. And when we talk about subjects like this, because you can see it in other people. Like, it's like, dude, this dude's going for it. I might not agree with that system, or I might not like that art, or I might even think that's bad, I might also find it incredible and good and all these things. But the thing you can't fight is the person going for it. And that's a tales all this time as well, right? And we all knew that as athletes and obviously know that in our entrepreneurial lives as well. But it's like, Jim Carrey has a cool line about this. He says that you make it materially in two ways. You make it being what the world wants you to be, and you can make it and you'll be handcuffed to a false identity and you'll have to play that out. Or you can make it as yourself, but you have to be willing to get killed to do it. And that's real. Like that is very, very real. And that's, I guess, painful is what comes to me. And I think that the word painful resorts itself to its actuality of vulnerability. It's not a surface level vulnerability in the fact of like victimizing or expressing externally of things that are maybe insecure are not as real as what actuality is. And vulnerability at its core is, you know, that there's a part of friend used to always ask myself, like, actual vulnerability is that you can be yourself and you can't get killed for it. But on the path to becoming vulnerable, you have to die 1,000 deaths to find it. And that's a cool way to look at that pursuit. You know, being yourself is, you're going to get killed becoming yourself. And that's why it's intimidating to make art, because it's like, I'd rather just make art that the world wants to see, you know,
right.
I don't have to get killed.
Yeah, no, that's, and you feel that on your journey too, right? Like it's, I don't know. It's that quote is unbelievable though. You're right. It's like, you either set off to be someone that you're not, and you're kind of hiding behind a wall, or you're willing to break down that barrier and again, die to become who you really are. And I don't know. That's life, I guess, boys. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of at a loss for words. That's life. I don't know. Right? It's cool. So I don't know, Harvey. It's always great chatting with you, brother. Auzzo, I think, I mean, we could do this for hours, but I think we'll let Harvey go here. Do you want to quickly just plug your book, brother, where we can get that? I mean, I have a couple of copies myself, but just plug it for the people.
Yeah, we got Without Words, Mastering the Art of Being. I don't know. It's on Amazon. And then Breathe, Focus, Excel. I would just go to my website, Harvey J. Martin. I keep everything simple. It's all Harvey J. Martin on all the socials. I really only use Instagram. I'll tweet a little bit, but my wife says that my Twitter's too dark. So, you know, so there you have it. But so maybe just stick to the Instagram. And if you want a book, go on Amazon. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, no.
And the pod is A Moment with Mart.
Oh yeah, A Moment with Mart. I've been dormant because I've been traveling so much this summer, so I haven't had any recent episodes. But
okay,
I do have a few coming up. So
okay, yeah, I think was I your first guest on that, big fella?
You were, dude. You were the first. You were the first guest. For tons of reasons, sentimentally, emotionally, spiritually. I will remember that conversation forever. And yeah, dude, that'll go down in the archives as the first Moment with Mart.
Awesome stuff, brother. Well, thanks for coming on Live in 5, brother. It's finally good to get your chin on over here. I will see you in a couple months down here in AZ. Auzzo, you're gonna have to try to link with him before he leaves. He packs his stuff and heads south. So
yeah,
we'll get a sauna.
Yeah, get a sauna in.
Get a sauna in.
Yeah, get a sauna in, boys.
I gotta get back to those sound bowls too.
Yeah, dude, we'll bowl up for sure.
Yeah,
we'll bowl up. You want a burrito or a bowl? I'll take the bowl.
Either or. Love you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. See ya. Folks, that was Harvey Martin, modern day philosopher, Auzzo. Great dude, friend of the program. And you know what? When he starts talking at some of those depths, I understand it, but I also realize I know nothing and I'm not very smart. So
it makes me pretty scared of how little I know about myself.
You know what makes me realize is I don't read nearly enough. And when I say nearly enough, I mean, Jordan, you should probably read 2 books a year instead of 1. I have a lot of good books around here. I don't know. Time to put the phone down, fella, and read a book, because that's what that guy does, Auzzo, is he's a learner. He's curious, obviously, but tons of depth to him and very knowledgeable. But, you know, he's one of those guys, I think, that the more he reads, he also learns it's the less he knows, really. You know what I mean? So he's one of those guys that the humility just runs through every orifice of his body. So great chat with Harvey. You're gonna have to get a sauna in with him, fella. That was episode 96. So folks, hope you enjoy it. Still only available on YouTube. We've talked about that enough. Hopefully we'll have a resolution here within the next, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks, but we'll see on that front. Auzzo, always tape to tape with you, bro. Enjoy the day. Woo.